Welcome back to Power in the Pause. I'm your host, Chelsea, and this is the space where we slow down, breathe for a second, and remember that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is pause. Lately, I've been sitting with a question. Why do some women completely lose themselves in relationships? Not just fall in love, I mean disappear inside of it. Their thoughts revolve around one person. Their mood depends on one text message, their weekends, their plans, even the way they feel about themselves can rise and fall based on how the relationship is going. Before they even realize it's happening, the relationship becomes the thing their whole life starts orbiting around. The question quietly shifts from who am I becoming to are they still choosing me? Do they still choose me? Says, I don't believe this happens because women are too emotional or love hard. I think many of us were simply handed a story about what our lives were supposed to revolve around and look like. If you really think about it, most of us were introduced to romantic love long before we were introduced to ourselves. Disney princesses didn't save themselves. A prince showed up. The story ended when she found him. Romantic comedies promise that somewhere out there is the person who would complete us. Even now, look at the questions women are asked. Are you seeing anyone? When are you getting engaged? When's the wedding? When are you having kids? It's subtle, but it's everywhere. There's this quiet message underneath it all. Your life is moving forward if your relationship is moving forward. And sis, that's a really dangerous story to believe because if it isn't, people start wondering what's wrong. And sometimes we start wondering too. And something that I've noticed both in my own life and in the therapy room is that so many women spend years learning how to be a good partner before they've had the chance to figure out who they are. We know what kind of relationship we want. We can describe our dream wedding that we've posted on Pinterest. We can list the qualities we're looking for in someone else, but ask us what kind of life we want to build, what excites us, what we want to create, who we want to become. And suddenly the answers aren't so clear because somewhere along the way, no one really taught us to ask those questions. And this is where the psychology gets really interesting. As humans, we naturally organize our lives around whatever feels most meaningful. If your life feels full of purpose, friendships that nourish you, work that challenges you, a hobby that reminds you you're creative, a community that knows you, goals that belong to you, then a relationship becomes one beautiful part of your whole life. But when your identity has never had the chance to grow beyond being someone's daughter, someone's partner, someone's wife, someone's mom, love can quietly become the thing holding your whole world together. And that's a lot of pressure to put on another person. I see this more often than people realize. A breakup happens, and yes, they're grieving the relationship, but they're also grieving the version of themselves they built around it, the future they imagined, the routines, the identity, the feeling that someone chose them. Sometimes what hurts isn't just losing the person, it's realizing that you don't know who you are without them. And says that's not because you're broken. It's because your identity got wrapped around something that was never meant to carry all of that weight and responsibility. Purpose doesn't have to mean discovering your one calling in life. Honestly, that idea stresses people out. Purpose can look like finally taking the class that you've been talking yourself out of, starting the business, joining that book club, traveling, learning to paint, finding friends who know your heart, moving your body because it makes you feel alive, volunteering, creating, building a career you're proud of, or simply becoming the kind of woman who keeps the promises she makes to herself. Every time you build a life that feels like yours, you become just a little less likely to ask someone else to become your entire world. The goal was never to make relationships matter less. Love matters, connection matters. We are wired for connection. But I never want a woman to build her entire identity on something that she can't control because people leave, sis. Relationships change, life happens. And if your whole world was built around one person, everything comes crashing down with it. Healthy love doesn't ask you to disappear, it asks you to bring your whole self. So, sis, here's what I want you to sit with today. If no one's watching, if there wasn't a relationship to maintain, if nobody was choosing you, what would you still choose? What would you build? Who are you becoming? Some of us have spent years asking, when is someone going to choose me? Maybe it's time to ask ourselves a different question. What kind of life am I choosing for myself? Because maybe your next season isn't about finding the right relationship. Maybe it's about building a life that feels so full, so grounded, so undeniably yours that love gets to complement it, not define it. Women deserve bigger dreams than simply being chosen, not because relationships aren't beautiful, they are. But your life was never meant to begin the moment someone falls in love with you. It begins the moment that you decide it's worth building. So build the life, sis. Get curious about yourself. Find what lights you up. Learn what matters to you. Become someone you genuinely enjoy spending time with. And then let love meet you there. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, send it to a woman who might need the reminder that she's allowed to be the center of her own life. And if you want more conversations like this about healing, growth, and becoming the woman that you're truly meant to be, come join us over on Instagram at She Is Society Official. And until next time, remember, there's always power in the pause.